what you're saying is that instead of being anti-furry, I should just be anti-pornography in general.
What I think is that you just stop being weird, man. Stop posting memes about killing people. It's weird. Do you not see how it's weird? Hello, Hello Guy 7.
Yep, that's me.
Alrighty, excellent. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. And you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. I know that we, got some stuff mixed up. I messed up a couple times. We got the time zones a little bit confused, but I'm glad that we're finally talking. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Um,
Yeah, no
so,
problem.
so do you want to tell us a little bit, like, about, like, if you don't mind, just tell us like a little bit about yourself and like, what's going on with you right now? Because I got people in my audience saying that like they don't believe that you're in the military and all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if that's the case. Like, I don't really have a reason to doubt them on that. So. Maybe just like give us an idea of like who you are and kind of what you're about.
So I am 18, currently with the Minnesota National Guard, and right now I am stationed in Fort Sill, about 3 weeks deep into my 13 Juliet training.
Okay, excellent. Um, all right, I think that's good. So I guess we'll just get right into it. Like I've seen like the anti-furry memes, I've got them. I got a few of them like right here. Um, I just I don't get it, I guess. Like, you got all these memes. I mean, like, you have, like, what, 18 video? Like, I have a playlist of 37 videos called Anti-Furry Memes. And the first one I see here is Jesus handing a gun to the audience saying, "Take it, son, slay all the furries." What's the deal? Like, I don't understand the hatred here.
Well, I've always kind of disagreed with the fandom. And then once I eventually got Discord, some friends talked me into it. I found some videos, compiled them together, and uploaded them to my YouTube pretty much as a joke. My YouTube was originally just a compilation of a bunch of random game clips, but then it kind of exploded.
Okay, so it kind of started as a meme, but then we, like, got into, you know, we have like a whole document now, right? Like a research paper essentially of like that's essentially just the anti-furry docs is what you called it, DOCS. So I don't know, just give us a rundown of what led you to do that and like what the whole thing's about. I haven't gotten a chance to read the whole thing, but you want to just give us like a brief summary?
Well, as it currently stands, I think I should put this out first. As it currently stands, it's far from being done. It probably won't be done till next year, end of this year, maybe. But it originally started out as on my stream. I was going through my YouTube comments, answering some of them on my stream, and I was like, "Dang, I have a lot of people who are arguing with me. Maybe I should dig up some stats and just see." And then those stats led to more stats, and eventually it just led to the creation of a whole entire doc.
Okay, so what kind of stats did you find?
Um, I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been a few months, but I first looked into, I believe it was how it affects the mental state, and I found a couple on those. And then I think that was then led into we man, I really don't remember. It was like 8 or 9 months. No, 8 months ago, yeah.
Okay, so with these stats, like what did you end up finding? Like, what did you discover about furries, or like, what did you end up verifying about? You said it's bad for your mental health, stuff like that.
So what I found out is that pretty much the fandom, and this isn't going against anyone individually, it's just that the fandom, it started out originally as something that was taboo, something adults would practice, and that's perfectly fine. But over time, it started to gradually edge into younger and younger communities.
Okay, so are you saying that you're fine with adults practicing it?
What you do in your own time is perfectly fine, but when it starts affecting people who don't even know what that type of stuff is, that's when I start having a problem.
Okay, I just see in these memes and even in the documents that like you claim that being a furry leads to zoophilia. So if that's the case, I don't understand why you'd be okay with like even adults doing it.
I wouldn't say that it leads directly into zoophilia. I apologize if that's what it seems like, but
Well, that's what the
it
memes are
has a
showing is
higher.
like you're often conflating the two.
Well, the memes aren't the docs, and the docs aren't the memes. The memes are just there as compilation videos I found on Discord and YouTube that made me chuckle, and they helped gain popularity for the docs. And then the docs are there as a statistical summary to say, "Hey, this is why the fandom is bad."
Okay, but you understand that like memes proliferate and then those memes can actually influence people's mentality, right? Like if you have a bunch of people looking at these memes thinking, you know, not understanding what being a furry is, and then they see you conflating furries with zoophiles all the time, you know, like that at a certain point that stops being a meme and starts being what people see as reality, you know?
I totally understand. I've had this conversation with a few furries actually who contacted me, and we have been trying to address that issue. We've put out a couple things, a couple community posts. I've worked with a couple other big antis that say that we don't support like genocide. No, not all furries are bad people. We don't usually target individual people unless they obviously deserve it. Like examples, Kiro. We had one guy inducted Emu. He was pretty bad.
Okay, but again, these memes show you killing furries, right? Not
They are
you, but
just
like
memes.
you say they're just
There's
memes, man, but like I don't see people make memes about killing people unless they're like, you know, extremists.
well, there's
Like
YouTube
these
channels
seems
that are
these
currently up that have thousands of offensive memes that talk about terrorism, racism, and they seem perfectly fine.
well, but you know, furries aren't terrorists or racists.
No, they aren't.
Right. So I just don't understand if they're not doing anything wrong. Like, what's with these memes? I don't understand where the hatred comes from. Like, these memes are like battered in hatred. Can you acknowledge that?
I could see how somebody could take them as being part of hatred, but that's not their original intent, at least not in my eyes,
How not?
because they're memes. They're just,
But
people
but
see
it's
these.
just a meme, bro. Up until like there's 18 in an entire series of like continuous nonstop. Starting from just a year ago, mind you. I've checked of just nonstop like killing furries. You know, me when I burn the. I saw one that said me when I burn the furry's house down. You know, like at a certain point you got to wonder like is this isn't just a meme anymore, right?
Well, most people see it as being sarcasm or just playing around, being silly.
Well, what if somebody
Uh,
doesn't?
I I don't know what to tell them. Then it's the internet. There's tons of people who take things 100% with seriousness.
So you're saying you don't hate furries?
Not individually, no.
Okay, I'm just saying the memes say otherwise. But like, let's talk about the furry docs a little bit. So, you know, you wrote an entire document about why like it's wrong to be a furry or like what furries are doing that you know or like how furries can it's I don't know like what you're telling me right now seems to conflict with everything that I see in the memes and in the documents. And I haven't looked at the documents extensively, but from what I did see, it seems like you do, in fact, take issue with people being furries just on the face of it.
So the docs aren't meant to target anyone specifically or to say that, hey, if you're a furry, you're an evil, bad person. It's there primarily to say, hey, these are all the bad things the fandom has done. Maybe you don't want to associate with the fandom. And slowly over time, I have noticed that it's starting to become more and more of a list of just events that the fandom has done, more in the document.
Of offensive stuff the fandom's done, you said?
Like the Tony Tiger incident, Rainforest, Kiro the Wolf, Sappho, the Zoophilia ring, just a bunch of things that all tie into the fandom or have been a part of the history of the fandom.
Sure. Do you think that those bad things were done, like, explicitly because they were furries?
Some of them, yes. There are a
Okay, like
few
what?
that I think just the Tony one definitely. Rainforest. I don't remember the exact name of one. It's one we added recently with pizza that I don't think I can say because I'm assuming you're streaming right now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I don't think I can mention it by name or
Okay.
it's on there. It's pretty new. But just know that some people they desecrated a pizza, then they left it out in the hallway, and then some staff had to clean it up, and it was bad.
Okay, so like, why could I not argue a few bad apples though?
You 100% can, but I think it's the problem of nobody's made anything like this over the entire fandom's existence. Nobody's ever made things like this. It's just these things happen. It's like, man, that's terrible. These people are not part of the fandom, and then the fandom moves on, and about a year later, or even less than a year, something else horrible happens again.
Yeah, but people do horrible things all the time, regardless of whether or not they're a furry. You know, is there a disproportional number of these things happening when furries are involved?
That I don't know.
Okay, I just feel like that would be important to know because, like, if there is, then maybe there's something to look at internally. But, you know, I look at a group like Christianity, for instance, and you know, I don't think all Christians are bad people by any stretch. But then you look at the churches, especially like the Catholic Church, and you see all these rampant issues of like sexual assault, especially against minors. And you know, I don't blame every single Christian for what happened there. You know, like I think I think that there is a specific problem with the priesthood within Catholicism that leads to that type of behavior, but I don't blame every single Catholic priest for that. You know what I mean? Like you can still be a Catholic priest and not be a kitty diddler, basically is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get that. It's like how I see a furry and I don't automatically assume that, man, this guy is an evil bad person who definitely does dogs. It's I see them as somebody who associates with the fandom and most of the times doesn't even know the history behind the fandom or the events that occur within it.
Okay, so like what's some of the history behind the fandom that would be important to know?
Uh, Again, how it's built off of taboo history, the various events that's happened, et cetera, things that
Tab-
we've gone over.
Taboo history. So like have we gone over the taboo history?
I don't think in detail.
Okay, so like what kind of taboo history? Like what?
So I don't have the reference exactly because I don't have my computer on me right now, but the fandom initially started out as being a group that would discuss pornographic comics involving anthropomorphic animals, and then that slowly moved up into drawing those animals, and then drawing taboo cartoons of those animals, and then it just kept going until the internet, where it started to slowly trickle down to younger ages.
So wait, is it anthropomorphic animals or just straight up animals? Because I feel there's a meaningful distinction there.
Anthropomorphic,
Okay, so taboo drawings, so just like porn.
yes.
Okay, so even if it has its roots in, you know, even if much of the fandom has its roots in pornography, which I'm not, you know, I'm not going to sit here and deny that, but like let's say that you just have somebody dressing up as an animal and they consider themselves a furry and they don't engage in any of the sexual activity. Like, you know, that is a thing that exists, yes?
Yeah.
Right. So then it's not inherently sexual, right?
No, being a furry is not inherently sexual
Right. So
in
then
itself.
when kids consider themselves furries, that's not a problem, right?
It's the problem with the association with the fandom,
The
not with
association with the
the
fandom.
inherent ability to be a furry.
Hold on. Can you explain that a little bit more?
So, as a United States Army soldier,
Mm-hmm.
it's my duty to defend the country, and that ultimately means that I might have to take a life one day. That does not mean that as a part of the army, I'm a serial killer who just goes out and kills for fun. It's the same as how if there's a furry that is a furry and in the fandom, it does not mean that they go out and do these things that other furries are being highlighted for.
Okay, but You're saying that you take issue with children being furries?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying it's because of the association to the sexual element, but we've already established that you don't have to be sexual to be a furry, right?
You yourself don't have to be, but there are individuals in the fandom, and a lot of them, who commonly drag these into it.
Sure, but like individuals just in general are commonly drag sexual things into a lot of stuff. Like there are parents who put shirts on their babies that say like I love titties. Do you feel like that's acceptable?
No, I don't feel like that's acceptable either.
Okay. But you seem to specifically take issue with the furry part.
Well, I can't fight a battle on every single front. I have to pick one opponent.
Right, but I just feel like it's a much more like if you're being consistent, it's a much more proliferant problem that people are sexualizing their children in that way than like the sexual problem with furries, because you can just put on like a pair of ears or like a tail or something and I saw some students do this in my school. You can just put it on and walk around with it, and sure, it might be a little weird, but there's nothing inherently sexual about it, right?
Hmm.
You there?
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Sure.
No, but I feel
Okay.
like we're just going in circles here.
I guess my thing is you keep trying to tie being a furry to being sexual, and that's why you're not like okay with kids doing it, and that's why it's like taboo or whatever. But like we've established, and you're right, we kind of are going in circles because yes, we've established that being a furry is not inherently sexual. You agree with that? Additionally, it's not like Rainforest was. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna turn off alerts. Sorry guys, I gotta fix that. But it's not, what was I saying? Like, Rainforest happened, but stuff like that happens in a lot of communities a lot of the time. Like, there was a whole thing in the Smash Bros. Community with them grooming minors. I don't think that every single person who plays in Smash tournaments is a minor groomer. So, like, I feel like this is equivalent to making an anti-Smash Bros. Doc. And it just
Could
seems
make
specifically
anti-Smash
aimed
Bros.
at
Doc,
furries
but
for no apparent reason.
I chose furries because I already had a dislike for the fandom, and then my channel blew up.
But why did you have a
So,
dislike for the fandom? Let's delve into that.
I saw some images when I was younger that I should not have seen and should not have been there, and that kind of just sparked it.
Okay, but I did too, and that didn't like not necessarily furry images, but like I saw plenty of stuff that when I was younger that I shouldn't have seen, and that didn't spark in me like this grandiose hatred of a specific community.
It's not a grandiose hatred. I don't inherently see people and
It's
be like,
pretty
"Oh,
grandiose, man. I'm still playing the memes; they're still going, and it's like let's see, we just called the R slur to one of the furries. Like we have soldiers shooting at furries apparently. Like it seems pretty grandiose, man. Let's be honest.
again, they're just videos. I don't even make
But
most
you
of
can
them."
say that, but literally like these are visual indications that yes, you would like I almost think you would kill furries.
No,
Would you?
it's my duty as a soldier to protect them ultimately.
Yeah, I agree. So then why are we posting these memes? I
Because they're
mean,
memes.
you have, I assume, easy access to weaponry, right? Like guns?
No, that's a misconception. I don't have easy access.
Okay, but like at a certain point you would, presumably, as a person, like, let's say that you get discharged and you're like completely trained and you purchase a firearm. That's something you could do, right? So like, how do I know that with this training you're not just gonna go out and shoot some furries? Because that's what these memes would indicate to me.
because it's the discipline and integrity and pride for the American people that they instill in every single one of us soldiers.
To even defend furries, even though you make these memes about killing them?
Aren't most furries American citizens?
Not most. I mean, I don't know the statistics. I don't know the breakdown, but many of them are, yes?
Then ultimately, I have to defend them and give my life.
What if you didn't have to defend them?
Then they aren't really my concern.
Right. So, like, let's say that you saw like a citizen. Let's say that there was like no rules, right? And you saw somebody who was in danger of like being killed, and then you find out the person who's in danger of being killed is a furry. Would you still protect that person?
Ultimately, yes, that's my duty.
No, I'm saying there's no duty. There's no like military duty. This is completely your like ethics, your ethical code. Like, would you protect a furry from being killed at the risk of your own life?
I would give my life to save another person's life. That's just who I am.
Even if they're a furry?
Are furries people, ultimately?
I would hope we both think that, yes.
Yes. Then yes, I would.
Okay. What if that person were a zoophile?
Under moral code, I don't think I could.
You don't think you could? Okay. Can you explain? I mean, I can't... I know that's a difficult question, but can you just give me a brief explanation as to why?
Morally, would I have to decide that saving this person would benefit everybody else around me in the long run, or even in the short run?
Okay. So you say that you wouldn't say you would save a furry, but you would not save a zoophile, and yet so often in these memes, I see you conflating the two. Like, these are memes that you've posted and basically signed off on. Like, these are memes that you have claimed ownership over. So, you know, like, seeing you conflate zoophiles with furries so much, I would think that you think they're one and the same.
No, they're not one and the same.
Okay, but you also think, like, in the files, it seems like you're leading people to the conclusion that being a furry leads you to be a zoophile.
Again,
Or
the docs aren't complete. There are still some things that need to be redone, and I believe.
But you published them, man.
I published parts of them, but most of them are edited by other people.
But they're under your name. They're published under your name. You have made a video about it. You've signed off on it. Like, I have to assume that you've at least like read all of it, right? Even if the other people wrote those parts.
I have, and I haven't been over the zoophilia section in 5-6 months.
Okay, so you've read all of it. You've signed off on all of it, and some of it indicates that being a furry has a high probability of leading somebody to zoophilia, right?
Higher than normal, yes.
Higher than normal. So, if there's a higher than normal chance of somebody being a zoophile, you're still inclined to save them? At the risk of your own life? You are? So you're told that there's a chance that this person's a zoophile, and you would still save them? Let's say like a 90% chance.
100% sure, yes.
Okay. I'm really trying to get a grasp on your distinguishing line between what entails a furry and what entails a zoophile, because clearly there's a line here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that we can acknowledge there's a line. So then why are we conflating them so much in these memes?
Because they're memes.
But you understand that with memes you can communicate certain ideas. And these ideas can proliferate throughout culture.
You can communicate certain ideas with any format of video.
Yeah, but you chose the format of memes. And additionally, I just think it's interesting that you go after both furries and zoophiles. Like, those are your two chosen targets, essentially.
Yes.
Okay, but again, do you understand why people might conflate the two?
Yeah.
And why you're helping proliferate that that conflation?
Partially.
Okay, so then I think that it would be good. We have Beat a Furry Day here on the screen. Do you believe in beating furries?
No. It's just a joke.
Then why would you post this
It's a
on the
meme.
27th of November? Like, come on. You keep saying it's a meme, man, but do you, like, I feel like that's just a pussy like a pussy response.
Okay.
Like you're a
What
member of the
response do you
military.
want to hear?
The response that I want to hear is, uh, whatever I want to hear what you believe, but you like I just it seems gratuitous, these memes, and there's so many of them. Like, do you just post them for clicks? Do you not understand that people look at these memes and like, ha, yeah, right, furries are awful, and then they might actually go out and cause harm to somebody? Like, that could happen.
I've never heard that happen.
Okay, I mean, it does. So, and these memes don't help. Like, let's put it this way: would you be okay with people making these memes about like Christians?
People do.
Okay, I know, and I'm not okay with it. Would you be okay with it?
Honestly, it's their opinion. It's over the internet. There's not much I can do about it.
Right, but do you believe that that can help proliferate violence against Christians? Like, this happens with minority groups all the time, and I'm not saying that like furries are a distinct minority or anything like that, but you know, proliferating these memes, you know, like you can say it's just a meme, but there comes a point where it's no longer just harmless. You know, uh, I'm willing to bet that a large part of your audience is kids because frankly, a lot of these memes are stuff that I would have come up in like high school with, and you're ingraining this idea that like violence against we can both agree that kids are impressionable, right?
Yeah.
So like if a kid were to look at these memes and like get these ideas that violence against furries is okay, do you not think that it would be a likely outcome that they might, you know, go out and commit violence against furries?
It's
You know, like
stopping
you've
any
posted,
kid from playing Call of Duty and saying that violence against anyone is okay.
you know, you've posted videos of like real life videos of people stealing like furries' tails. Do you think that's okay?
Was not a part of the meme comp?
Yes. But it was a real video of somebody stealing a furry's tail, and you posted it. And apparently you think that it's funny.
The context that I had behind that video was that person was already being bullied by that person.
That person was being... So wait, who was doing the bullying?
The person with the tail was already bullying and harassing that person that took the tail.
Is that true? Is that how it went down? I still don't believe in property theft, but...
I don't know. That's what I heard from the video.
Okay, I didn't get that context from the video, so maybe we can just leave that one aside, but... Yeah, I don't know, man. To me, it just seems like there's, especially for somebody in the armed forces, a gratuitous amount of... I wouldn't... Let's put it this way. I wouldn't want somebody who is tasked with defending such people posting memes like this. Can you understand why that might make some people uncomfortable?
I can see how it might make some people uncomfortable, but at the same time, the army in general makes some people uncomfortable as well.
Okay, but you're adding to that. Like you presumably have access to weapons at some point. You have training with them. When you get discharged, you can purchase a firearm and be very well equipped to kill people if need be. And you're posting all of these memes of killing people. Like, that's not a good look, man.
Stopping somebody who wasn't in the army from doing the exact same thing.
What'd you say? If somebody wasn't in the army? I still would think it would be a bad look, but the fact that you're in the army makes it even worse. You're supposed to be more disciplined than that. I would think. Like, some of these are straight up death threats. Some of these are unambiguous death threats, man. They're not just memes.
I'm trying to think of a response that doesn't lead us in a circle.
The circle here is I think we just have a basic disagreement. You think that these are just memes and fun and games and whatever, and I'm telling you that these proliferate harmful ideas that can get people hurt. And I believe that I am accurate in saying that. You know, that's how queer people get hurt. That's how black people sometimes get hurt. Like, this leads to a culture of hatred and violence. And I know that sounds like, you know, leftist liberal cuck shit or whatever, but, like, that's true. That is what it does. And so, like, these, you know, you might have an impressionable person, or even a child. Like I said, I'm willing to bet that there are children who watch your memes. They appear to appeal to, you know, these Fortnite kids with ADHD who are very impressionable, and they might go and hurt you know, they might one day go and hurt furries. And I don't think that furries deserve that, do you?
Just to counter to your point, what's the difference between my videos affecting kids and furries videos affecting kids by the normalization of fetishes?
I don't think that being a furry is necessarily a fetish, so I don't care. If kids are watching sexual content, that's bad, and they should stop doing that. But furries, from what I've seen, you know, when it's sexual, like, I always see it's 18 plus in their bio. 18 plus, 18 plus, no kids allowed, 18 plus. And obviously there are always going to be kids that slip through the cracks, right? But if you're actively trying to repel children from being in your community, like making that effort, I think that's fine. So with you, you know, like, I attempted to join your server and I read over the rules, and I didn't see any rules that said no minors allowed. So I'm assuming that minors are allowed in your server, right? Or the server owned by the person that you have the link to in your description. Very simple question, man. Are minors allowed on your server?
Well, it's not specified in the rules. It's not allowed in Discord TOS, and we follow Discord TOS.
Okay, so minors are allowed on your server then, yes? I'm not saying you don't follow Discord TOS. I'm saying minors are allowed on your server, right? Over the age of 13. So that would be a minor, right? So minors are allowed on your server. Okay, so you're more than furries even. It seems like you're the one influencing minors. And you know that these memes can influence minors to do bad things. So, like, and minors are impressionable. So the fact that you allow minors in your server concerns me a lot.
What are you suggesting here?
What I'm suggesting is that the memes that you post are being seen by minors, and those minors are getting the impressionable minors are getting the idea that it is an acceptable thing to harm furries for the crime of being a furry. That is what I'm getting at. Do you believe that that is a logical A to B?
I think that they get impressioned by everything they see, not
Yes,
just my content.
including your memes. Not just your content, but including your content. Are you okay with that? Okay, so are you okay with that?
Nothing I can really do with that.
Yes, you do, man. You're posting the memes. What do you mean you have nothing to do with it?
Stop posting the memes?
Yes. I think they're harmful. I think that kids are seeing them, and you know the kids are seeing them because kids are in your server. I mean, does that not concern you at all? The kids are in your server? What else goes on your server?
What do you mean by that?
How do I know that you're not posting like homophobic memes, transphobic, racist memes? You know, like, how do I know that you're not also advocating for violence against other groups in your server? Because these memes are advocating for violence. Look at this. There's literally a gun to a furry's head. Like,
Where? Oh, in the meme comp?
Yes.
What meme comp are you on?
I don't know, man. I'm playing the whole playlist. Anti-Furry Memes 5. We're at 7 minutes and 40 seconds. We have a video of somebody stabbing somebody.
That was a year and a half ago.
From a year and a half ago? Okay. Here, you want to go more recent? We can go more recent. Let's see. Anti-Furry Memes 18 from 2 months ago. Okay. More depictions of furries being killed. I mean, it's the same shit, man. Like, you can hide behind this, it was a year and a half ago, but this is from 2 months ago. Same shit. So, I don't get it. Like, do you still stand by those memes? If you were saying that's from a year and a half ago, then are you gonna delete it? Like, what's your point?
Some of the quality of content has changed.
The quality. So they're higher def memes of people being killed. HD 4K, right? Or maybe the jokes are just better. But at the end of the day, there's still memes of furries getting killed.
Last time I checked, there wasn't any actual people in it. It was all just animation.
It doesn't matter if it's actual people, man. You're still proliferating the idea that it's gratuitous. After a certain point, it's gratuitous.
You say that about anything on the internet.
Huh?
I hate to be the one to use deflection, but you could say that about anything on the internet.
Okay, but what do you mean you could say that about anything on the internet? Give me an example.
You could watch memes from one channel all day, and eventually it comes to the point where they just aren't funny anymore, no matter what.
It's not about it not being funny, man. It's about getting across the idea that violence against furries is acceptable, and that is the idea that you're proliferating. Whether you believe you are or not, that is what you are doing.
So what about any violent video game that proliferates the idea that violence against anyone is acceptable?
A video game is distinct enough from reality, but you're using different things from all these different pieces of media, but the common thread is violence against furries is acceptable. Me when I burn the furry's house down, right? Me when I beat up the local furry. Me at the furry con shooting the furries. You know, like, I don't know if that's a specific one, but like, it's not that far off from what you post.
Because they're memes, they're sarcasm.
It's not sarcasm, dude. Stop being a pussy. Okay? You know that these memes are very, harmful when it comes to impressionable people. Right? Like, you know the idea you're trying to get across.
No.
Why do you hate furries so much? Let me just ask you, why do you hate furries so much? You have already said that, like, you came across an NSFW picture that you shouldn't have when you were a kid. Is that the entire reason? Is that it?
That was the initial spark.
That was the initial spark. Why else do you hate furries? I have to imagine there's more to it. Because otherwise that's just very silly.
Haven't I already answered this question?
Yeah, but I don't... What I'm saying is, what is it that you dislike about furries right now?
The fact that they're still trying to get minors into a sexualized community. Or
It's not a sexualized community, man. We've already established that you do not have to be sexual to be a furry, right?
No. But the majority
Yes.
are.
Okay, maybe the majority are, but guess what? The majority of humans are sexual. You can be a non-sexual furry. The thing about being a furry is that very often it's a self-insertion thing. So because most people are sexual creatures, and most people self-identify with a furry identity when they're furries, they often insert their furry identity into sexualized situations. Okay, there's a very heavy sexual element. I'm not denying that. But you don't have to be sexual to be a furry. And so it's fine if kids are furries. I think that's fine. As long as they're not doing anything sexual with it. Right?
Hold on, cowboy. Right? What you just said was that it's common for furries to place themselves inside sexual situations.
As it is with every human, yes. Almost every human. Right? Do you do that? Do you have fantasies about yourself? Because I do.
No.
Most people do. You don't? I'm not saying a furry fantasy. I'm just saying a sexual fantasy. You don't have any sexual. I'm not trying to pry here. I'm just asking. Like, I have sexual fantasies, and I feel like it's a very normal thing that most people have. So I don't feel like it's embarrassing to say yes, I have sexual fantasies. You don't have to answer the question if it makes you uncomfortable. But I think we can both agree that most people have sexual fantasies in which themselves are involved, right?
Like women. I don't really know what to tell you, dude.
Did you just say not women?
I like women. I'm
Oh,
straight.
you
I
like
don't know
women.
what to tell
Okay,
you.
sorry. Okay, that's fine. If you don't have specific sexual fantasies, that's fine. I'm not saying that you have to. But we can agree that a lot of people, not even most people, just a lot of people do, regardless of whether or not they're a furry, right?
And so, should those things be publicly expressed?
No, but being a furry is
But
just
then,
one, is an element of somebody's identity, not a sexual fantasy. It can be
but you
involved in a
just
sexual
claimed that.
fantasy.
You just claimed that. So, is it a sign of a sexual fantasy or is it not?
No, it's not a sign. That'd be like saying going out like, let's say that like I have a sexual fantasy for feet, right? And sometimes I go out barefoot. Am I expressing a sexual fantasy?
On the way you present it, yes, you very well so could.
Okay, maybe I could be, but on the face of it, like, no, right? Because feet themselves are not a sexual object. They are to some people. They're a fetish object to some people. But bare feet as a standalone is not sexual. So I'm fine with kids being barefoot sometimes. It's the same way that I'm fine with kids being furries. Even though some people have furry fetishes or insert their furry identities into sexual situations, being a furry is like having bare feet in that circumstance, where it's not inherently sexual, even if it might be sexual to some people. So that's why I'm fine with kids being furries. I don't understand the problem. And I'm fine with furries, like, expressing themselves in public. The same way I'm fine when it's, like, you know, reasonable with people being barefoot in public. I don't care.
I honestly think we've gotten to a point where your thought logic no longer corresponds with my thought logic.
What do you mean? Can you explain?
Because I don't agree with those two last points you made.
You don't agree? Okay. What don't you, like, what specifically don't you agree with and why?
I, I feel like we're just looping here again, but no, I don't believe that children can be furries because furries are, and even if they're not, even if today you don't see as a fursuit as a sexual object, in the past it was.
Okay, things change. Right now, you can wear an entire, like, by the way, wearing an animalistic costume has never, like, really, like, it's existed as long almost as humanity has existed, wearing animal costumes and acting like animals and, you know, pretending to be like an anthropomorphized animal. Like, that goes back to, like, the Egyptian ages, like, like, even caveman days, probably, if I had to guess. So, like, and it's never been seen as inherently sexual until furries came along. And if you want my opinion, I think it's because people see furries as cringe. And maybe they are, but they have the right to be cringe. So, like, what you're doing, it seems, is finding an excuse to hate them, besides the fact that they're just cringe, because you know that's stupid. Am I on the money?
Yes, we have practiced doing that for a long time, but until
Yes.
recently, it wasn't a taboo type thing.
What do you mean a taboo type thing?
With the Egyptians, like you said, that was for religious practices.
Okay.
That carried on through the Mayans, through the Greeks. It was all for religious practice. And then when furries eventually got into the mix, it stopped becoming that. Well, it hadn't become that for a while, correction, but it started growing more into that taboo side.
Started growing more into that taboo side because people were dressing up as animals still? Like, I don't get it. Like, they're all dressing up as animals. For
Like
whatever
you said,
reason, they're doing
times
it.
change.
Huh?
Times change, right? Things change.
Yeah. even if being a furry started out as sexual, I don't think that it currently is in its current iteration. As I said,
How
I think that
so?
there, huh?
I just want to get your thought process on this. How so?
How so? Because you can put on an animal costume, call yourself a furry, and not be sexual about it. There are asexual furries. There are kids who are furries who have nothing to do with it being sexual. Like, there's demonstrable evidence.
I could say if there's evidence for the exact opposite.
Because some furries are sexual? Is that why?
Statistically, most.
Okay, most people are also sexual. Being a furry has a lot to do with self-insert. So when you insert your own, like, furry identity into a sexual situation, of course it's going to be sexual. But that doesn't mean, like, if you have an identity that is furry, you might insert it into sexual situations. That doesn't make that identity inherently sexual.
I really don't know what to tell you. We're just looping
I know
here,
you
and
don't.
neither of our logic are just matching up.
Well, I know you don't, because you, like, it just seems like you're wrong on this. Like, you keep saying furries are sexual, and I keep telling you there's evidence that they're not all sexual. Like, and even if some furries are sexual some of the time, that doesn't mean they're sexual with their identity all of the time. It's an identity thing. It's not a sex thing. You know, I'm a furry. It's the same as saying my favorite color is blue. It's the same as saying I like pizza, or I like summer as opposed to winter. You know, just being a furry is a preference. It's an identity. An identity feature, I should say. You know, and maybe one of your kinks is having sex in the summer on a beach, you know? But that doesn't make beaches in the summer inherently sexual. Doesn't make it inherently sexual when you wear a swimsuit. Am I making sense?
Could you say again?
One of your identity features might be, okay, so so if you have a fantasy of having sex on the beach in the summer, okay? And then you say, I love the summer and I love the beach. Okay? Do you think that every time that person goes to the beach that they're being sexual?
Under your logic, wouldn't that be a self-insert?
Yes, exactly. So you might like the beach, and you might also like the idea of having sex on the beach, right? But that doesn't mean that every time you go to the beach you're being sexual. So you might be a furry, you might like the idea of wearing a furry costume and having sex in that furry costume, but that doesn't mean that every time you put on the costume you're thinking about having sex, or thinking of it in a sexual way. It's an identity feature. It's the same way you can be gay and in a relationship with somebody who's the same sex as you without it always being sexual. Being gay is not always a sexual thing. Sometimes it's just a relationship thing, a romantic thing, or a preference. It's just an identity feature. It's expression.
Right. But why should that be able to be expressed onto children?
Because it's not inherently sexual. Why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't it be allowed? Things are allowed by default unless you can prove why they should not be allowed. Is it because it's cringe? Still there?
Yeah, stand by.
Okay. I think it's religion based, Alec. I mean, it might be. I don't know. That's another possibility. Is it a religious thing?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not because they're cringe. No, it's not homophobic or racist issue. What
Okay.
I guess one perspective of looking at it would be that as somebody who is 13, 14, 15 years of age, they might not even understand the implications of what being a furry even means, even if it isn't a sexual sense.
It's an anthropomorphized animal. What more is there to take from that? I think the animal looks cool.
But you
I like wearing
before
the costume.
admitted,
Like, huh?
but you before admitted that humanity is a sexual concept in itself, correct?
Yes, so you can be a human and you can like certain things and you can even be sexual about those certain things, but that doesn't
But
make
should
those things
that be
sexual
pushed
inherently.
onto? But should that be pushed onto a younger generation
I do not
that
think that
hasn't
things that
even got that yet?
I do not think that things that are inherently sexual should be pushed onto children. No. But being a furry
So
is
what
not
are
inherently
some?
sexual. We've established that. Have we not? Didn't you agree to that? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't believe I did. Correct me if
Okay,
I'm
so
wrong.
so you do think that being a furry is inherently sexual?
In a sense, yes.
In a sense, what do you mean in a sense? Is it sexual or not? I think being human is sexual in a sense. Kids are human. I don't think that kids are sexual, just for being human.
Say again.
I think being human is sexual in a sense, because most humans are sexual and they insert their humanity into the sexual element of it. But kids are also human, okay? Just because kids are human does not make kids inherently sexual. Does that make sense? I feel the same way about furries and
So
furry identities.
what you're saying is that instead of being anti-furry, I should just be anti-pornography in general.
What I think is that you just stop being weird, man. Stop posting memes about killing people. It's weird. Do you not see how it's weird?
I don't see how logically it could be any more weird than the hundreds of war edits that are floating around the internet that have millions of views
What do you mean
that
war
glorify
edits?
war. The NATO wave edits, the Soviet wave edits,
I
all
don't
those
believe in
Eric
memes that
edits.
glorify war either. I don't like those.
Okay?
But you're
Why aren't you
deflecting.
targeting those?
You're deflecting. I'm not
You've been
targeting
deflecting
those.
this whole conversation.
What'd you say?
You've been deflecting this whole conversation
What have I deflected on? Pin me down. Go ahead.
on how the furry fandom is a sexualized community. Well, all humanity is a sexualized community. How
That's an explanation, not deflecting. Deflecting is saying, man, you're posting memes about killing furries, and then you deflect by saying, well, other people post these other memes. Okay, I don't think those memes are okay either, but that's not what we're talking about right now. Do you think it's okay to be a human? Do you think it's okay for a kid to be a human?
stand by.
Okay, we're gonna go with yes, because kids are human. So you think it's okay for kids to be a human, I'll assume. But even though humans are inherently sexual in certain ways, you think that it's okay for a kid to be humans. Okay, so in the same vein, I think that even though being a furry might be sexual in some ways, it is okay for a kid to be a furry because being a furry in and of itself is not a sexual thing, just as being a human is not a sexual thing.
All right, sorry. Could you say again?
Okay. We can both agree that there are sexual elements to being human, yes?
You could say that about anything, but yes, there are
Yes,
sexual elements.
exactly. There are sexual elements to being human. So kids are human, yes?
Yes, it does not mean that
Does
they
that
should be
make...
actively exposed to those elements.
Exactly. So I don't think that kids should be exposed to the sexual elements of being a furry. But being a furry is not entirely comprised of sexual elements.
Therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem. What is sexual inside the fandom?
I see the same things sexual within the fandom that I see without. It's furries, and the only difference is that they're in suits usually, and having sex in the suits. Okay? You can have sex in lingerie. You can have sex in underwear. Let's say underwear. You can have sex in underwear, okay? Doesn't mean that kids shouldn't wear underwear. Doesn't make underwear inherently sexual. You can have sex in a fireman costume. That doesn't make fireman inherently sexual.
But do they make fireman costumes designed specifically for sex?
Yes. Absolutely they do.
All right, but is there a whole community then built around those suits?
Around firefighters? Do you not think there's a firefighter community?
A sexualized firefighter community.
Do you not... Okay, this is the problem. Firefighters as a concept are not inherently sexual, but you can sexualize it, just as you can do with furries.
But furries as a concept are sexual. We
No,
established this
they're
in well over
not.
history.
No, they're not. We've already agreed. I thought that we agreed that furries can be not sexual. Like, they're asexual furries. You can... It's not a sexual thing to literally just put on a costume. Or, like, a pair of ears or a tail. That's not sexual in and of itself.
No, it's the association.
What associate... To sex?
To the fandom, yes.
The fandom's not inherently sexual. It's just celebrating anthropomorphized animals and people's identification with them. You can be a furry and never have sex. They're asexual furries. Many, probably most of them, do have sex and associate their furry identity with sex in many ways, okay? But most humans do that with themselves already. They're just adding an element.
I apologize. Can you say again? I'm just multitasking right now.
Okay. What I said was, you can be a furry and insert your identity as a furry into a sexual situation, but most humans do that with themselves already, so I don't see the problem. It's the same way that a person who goes around barefoot might also insert the barefoot element into a sexual situation. Okay, that doesn't make being... Like, a lot of people do that with bare feet, okay? That doesn't make being barefoot inherently sexual, and I think that it's fine if kids go around barefoot. The same way that I think it's fine if a kid goes around in a furry costume. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Why do you give a shit? It's not inherently sexual.
I've already told you why, though.
Yes, and it doesn't make any sense, and I keep explaining it to you, and we keep going in these circles, like you keep saying, about... You keep saying it's not sexual, and I'm explaining to you why it's not. Or, sorry, did I say that you said it's not sexual? You keep saying it's sexual, and I keep explaining to you why it's not. And you just refuse to accept that.
I have the docs behind me, and even though they are complete, I'm going to go with the stats listed, and they say it is sexual.
You've barely brought up the docs in this entire situation. What in the in this entire conversation, sorry, what in the docs says that they are inherently sexual? Can you provide me an example? And if you don't have it on hand, take all the time you need and go dig it up. Did we get a tipster raid? Hey, welcome, tipster. The silence says so
I
much.
just copy and pasted the first section.
Okay.
I haven't been over it in again. I haven't been over it in a bit because I've been training at AIT.
Okay, you signed off on it, so you're responsible for the things within it. Now, what do we got here? Exotic exposure. 331 out of 334 male furries in a survey stated that they had some sexual motivation for being furries. Abstract. Furries are individuals who are especially interested in anthropomorphic or cartoon animals. They often strongly identify with anthropomorphic animals and create personas, identities of themselves as those anthropomorphic animals. So this is saying, once again, the same thing that I said, which is that there is a self-insert element. And if you are a sexual person who happens to be a furry, you are going to be a sexual furry. Okay, that's just the A to B there. Some practice fur-sitting or wearing costumes that resemble anthropomorphic animals. Furries have been portrayed as sexually motivated in the media and pop culture, although little empirical research has addressed this issue. If some furries are sexually motivated, they may be motivated by an erotic target identity inversion, sexual arousal by the fantasy of being the same kinds of individuals to whom they are sexually attracted. Furries with ETIIs would experience both sexual attraction to anthropomorphic animals and sexual arousal by fantasizing about being anthropomorphic animals because they often change their appearance and behavior to become more like anthropomorphic animals. We surveyed 334 male furries recruited from the internet about their sexual orientation, sexual motivation, and sexual interests. A large majority of our sample reported non-heterosexual identities, 84%, and some degree of sexual motivation for being furries, 99%. Okay, some sexual motivation. So that's not contradicting anything that I said. Because as I said, you can have a person who is sexually motivated in some ways to be a furry without it being entirely sexual. You can just find furries. It's the same way if like a gay person finds most men attractive, right? And they happen to be a gay man. That doesn't mean that being a gay man is entirely a sexual thing for them, or that like they should like not, or like kids should be not allowed to be gay. It's not inherently sexual. It's just an identity thing. What else we got? Another states that 87.3% view exotic furry art. How many adult men view like vanilla exotic art? Like you see where this breaks down, right?
Say that again.
How many adult men do you believe view exotic art in general of like humans? Let me ask you this.
All of them.
Do you think a woman is inherently sexual?
No.
And yet you are attracted, I assume you're attracted to women, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you have fantasies about your, well, you don't have to get into this, but I assume that you probably think about, like I do, like most people do who are straight males, right? Think about themselves having sex with women, right? Like being a woman is a sexual element in our sexuality, but that doesn't make women inherently sexual. So being a furry can be a sexual element, but that doesn't make being a furry in itself sexual. Does that track? I feel like I've been saying the same thing over and over. Like you keep telling me like, "Oh, most furries engage in sex." What a surprise. So do most humans.
All right. I guess a different perspective or way to look at it is that unlike women, most women don't portray themselves in a sexual way, whereas most furries and furry content by extension is portrayed in a sexual way.
Okay, when I search fursuit, do you believe that this is being portrayed in a sexual way?
Okay, counter. When I searched furry memes, which were the exact, which, if correct me if I'm wrong here, you were giving me shit for posting my memes and having them be interpreted by children, but how is this
What is it?
first thing that comes up?
Spinning the ice lolly wheel. Best furry memes of 2023. Instant throbbing. Please don't be gay. I don't want to be gay. What does this mean? Okay, I don't think kids should be looking at this. What's your point?
Okay, that's just under furry memes. Here, let's even check it. Is it even age restricted?
Hmm? Also, I don't think this is nearly as bad, by the way. Because kids do struggle with sexuality during puberty. So, even if I don't want kids necessarily looking at these memes, I don't think it's nearly as bad as telling kids that it's acceptable to kill furries. I don't think this is targeted at kids. Kids probably will stumble across it, but like I said, like most furries have 18 plus on their, like most furries who post sexual stuff, the vast majority of them have 18 plus on all of their content.
So, as an 18 plus, most would mean that most are sexual, correct?
What do you mean? Like if it's if I yes, 18 plus. So when I say that most people who post sexual content of sexual furry content have 18 plus on their content, that means that they know they're posting sexual content and it's not aimed at kids.
The memes that I just looked at, the ones that had that image on it, not age.
Furry memes. Mom, go play with the neighbor's kid. The neighbor's kid. It's a picture of a furry on a wall. It's the first result that I get. Here's another one. Going to bed at a normal time. Staying up all night drawing a furry meme and being dead inside the next day. Here's another one. I would look great in this sweater. Yes, this white juice is indeed quite good. What is it? It's bone-hurting juice. Like, these are the first results that I got on Google. They're not sexual. I mean, would you agree?
Say again.
Would you agree that these 4 memes that I sent you, the first results on Google, are not sexual? They largely just appear to be memes that happen to involve furries.
I'll accept the last one. The last one's edited.
Last one's edited? Okay, I wouldn't know that. It's the first result on Google. Like, it's in the first 4. But here's the difference between what you're posting and what furries post. What furries post could be sexual. What you're posting pretty much always involves violence against furries, yes?
As a meme, yes.
As a meme. You keep saying as a meme, man. I'm sorry, that sounds like pussy shit. It's just a meme, right? Until somebody actually goes out and starts hurting furries. Here we go. Midwest Fur Fest chlorine incident. At 12:45 a.m. on the third day of the convention, December 7th, Midwest Fur Fest's primary hotel was forced to evacuate when somebody dropped a jar of powdered chlorine inside the building. 19 people were transported to nearby hospitals after complaining of nausea, dizziness, and other medical problems. None were hospitalized and all were released. Hazmat technicians decontaminated the area and after conducting several tests deemed the area safe within about 2 hours. People were allowed back in the building at 4:20 a.m. So somebody dropped a chlorine bomb in a furry convention.
That was in 2016. That was
That was in
before
2014. 26.
Apologies.
I'm not saying that you did this. I'm saying this is what this leads to. Fullerton triple homicide in 2016. On Saturday, September 24, 2016, Christopher Yost, Jennifer Yost were murdered in their home along with their friend Arthur Butcher. Within a day, Joshua Charles Acosta was found to be the suspect in the murder and confessed that he intruded on the Yost home, shot Arthur Butcher with his shotgun before making his way to the Yost room to shoot Jennifer Yost between the eyes, prompting Christopher Yost to attempt an escape, only for Joshua Acosta to reload and fire at Christopher and killing him as he was escaping through a back door. Joshua Charles Acosta and his friend Frank Felix, who provided him with a shotgun, knowing his intentions behind it, were sentenced to life in prison. Colorado furry raid.
Oh, keep going. Continue.
Colorado furry raid. On October 31st, several alt-political furries attempted to enter a store. Well, this might actually be by furries. Oh, okay, so these were Nazi furs.
The docs cover Nazi furs.
Yes, I understand that. Furries can be Nazis just as any group can be Nazis. San Jose Furry Convention. 22-year-old Dimitri Hardnet assaulted a female in his car, prompting... Okay, I don't know if that's connected to anti-fur stuff.
So all of those things that you listed, primarily the first 2, those were both believed to be done. Well, the first one, that was believed to be done by somebody in the group of the fandom. I should correct myself there. And the second one, as you said before, humanity does a lot of fucked up things. So what's saying that it wasn't just a really fucked up murder that had the fandom involved with it by chance?
But but this is how violence is proliferated, man, through meme culture. Not always, but that's one of the many ways that it can be proliferated. People, I mean, you've posted 18 fucking videos of just straight up killing furries memes. After, like I said before, after a certain point, it becomes gratuitous, and I have to question your actual intentions, man.
Of
It's just
being memes.
weird. I know it's just memes. I know it's just memes, right? It's just memes. Haha, funny. We kill the furry. Haha. This won't actually affect anybody. I get that it's just memes. Okay, pussy. I get it. I get it. But do you understand how this can possibly lead to violence, like real world violence against furries? You're not an insignificant person in the anti-fur community. Okay, you have cultivated a following. I assume that has some children in it as well, who now are posting memes all the time about killing furries, about burning furries' houses down, about stealing their shit. You know, like it's not cool, man. You've said yourself you allow minors in your servers. This is not a good
So,
look, especially for somebody who's in the military. It's really not. I expect a higher level of discipline from my military members, people tasked with protecting me. It's disgusting. Do you have anything to say to that?
so what's the difference between this content and say the the no Russian mission that was in World War Modern Warfare 2? Because that I remember that got a lot of news coverage and nothing ever happened from it.
The no Russia what?
The no Russian mission from Modern Warfare 2, the original game, the good one.
What about the mission? It's a fucking video game.
So what's the difference between that being a video game and this being a video?
Because it's a story. It's disconnected enough from reality. You're pushing a message. Hate the furries. You must hate the furries. Enough to want to kill them. That's the message you're pushing, whether you know it or not. Now, do you agree with the message that you're pushing?
Within the second paragraph of the docs, it literally specifies that it's not there about hatred.
And yet, all of your memes, which are many, show you killing, they're memes of killing furries. That's what they are. Murdering them, torturing them, burning their house down. I've seen them. Which one do you think people look at more?
Which one do you think people take more seriously?
Even in your documents, you tried to conflate in many ways furries with zoophiles, or at
I
least
don't.
insinuate that there's a higher population of zoophiles within the furry community, which I don't believe is true.
There's multiple studies on it.
Okay, well, the vast majority of furries that I've seen are staunchly against being a zoophile, and we've already established that they're not the same thing. You can be a furry without being a zoophile. So even if you do want to kill zoophiles, which I still think is kind of weird to say, but, you know, I understand because zoophiles are very bad people, all right? I can at least understand that one. Even if you say you want to do that, that's not the same. Like, furries are not zoophiles. And yet you keep conflating them in your memes as well.
You want to guess my response here?
Sure. Well, no. Go ahead. What's your response?
Because they're memes.
Okay, I get it, buddy. Goodbye. They're just memes, bro. They're just memes. I feel bad calling him a coward. No, I don't. He's a fucking pussy. Disgusting, man. I expect better from people in the fucking armed forces. The entire time, his whole defense was just, oh, they're just memes, they're just memes. Yeah, okay, I get it. They're just memes. Until somebody actually acts on them. Yeah, memes equals no accountability. The cognitive dissonance was insane. You could tell he knew what he was pushing was fucked up, and he repeatedly tried to terminate those thoughts. I don't even think that I did a particularly, like, I don't even think I was on top of my game today. But even I can tell that at a certain point, the memes just become way too much. You know, you have to question, like, is this person even mentally okay? because it just seems like all he fucking thinks about. Anyway, I don't know what else to take from that conversation. It kind of just exhausted me. I don't even feel good about it particularly. But at least we finally got it, I guess. He's just a disgraceful member of our armed forces. That's what he is. Alright, this is Halo Revenger. I'm gonna give him one chance. But I have a feeling that I might have to end very suddenly. Hello?
Yo,
How can I help you?
listen, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I want to apologize for my previous joke that I did, but I'm not gonna lie. After today, I I can't even I can't even attempt to make a defense for them, man.
Okay,
I I
so...
just want I just wanted to say, yeah, you were right, man. I again, I apologize my joke regardless of that. I apologized before. I apologize for my joke. Before I wanted to have an actual conversation, but I made it too much of like a goofy thing, like I explained in the comments. But after today and seeing how much of a bitch that freaking Halo 7 guy is, dude,
Mm-hmm.
I'm left genuinely baffled, man. Like the way how even I, when making a joke, I actually put effort into what I was saying and actually tried to like stick to my ground. He was over here staying silent and not saying anything. I'm
Okay.
sorry, man. I apologize to you, Alec Gunter. I after today, I have no more reason to hate on furries. I don't, because I was left genuinely surprised at how this Halo guy, dude, who I've watched since I was like maybe in my like sophomore year of high school, I
Mm-hmm.
seen that the dude freaking he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and I was just genuinely surprised by that, man. I'm
So,
not gonna bullshit you.
so I'm interested now. So what brought you to hating furries in the first place, and what is it about our converse? So you said it's because he wasn't standing by anything he was saying?
Yeah, because the thing that I hate about when people talk that I have to give credit to you is that you stood on your ground, you stood with your points, you kept talking no matter what. What he was doing is he was trying to make a point, but he wouldn't follow through with it, or he kept saying, stand by. Like, what the hell is that?
I agree. It seemed a bit spineless. So,
Yeah, and I'm
um,
not gonna lie. This dude said he was in the military. He was making memes like this. I've watched this dude since my sophomore year. I thought this dude was like freaking guy who could at least talk his way against furries, but now I see the dude doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about, man. He has no clue. And I went on to something funny that happened is I got banned from both your server and his server because I went on his server saying, "Halo guy, what the hell are you doing?"
okay.
I was I was just left so freaking baffled about it. But yeah, you wanted to know why I became why I was an anti-furry, right? Or do you not care?
No, I care. Go ahead.
Okay. So the reason I became an anti-furry is because of two reasons. Weird things that I said in your comments before. The first reason was when I was younger on a school trip, I unfortunately saw a pink and a blue furry having intercourse in public
Mm-hmm.
while in a park, and they were just going crazy at it, and that kind of traumatized me a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second reason was because, well, also because I thought they were cringe, and also because of the reason of the gamer versus furry war, to where as when I was that was happening when I was like in middle school, and I was taking that stuff like unironically stuff.
Right.
And I saw this dude who basically vindicated everything that I was feeling, and I thought, oh shoot, this is how this guy feels, and I'm like, all right, I forget him. I mean, forget furries. I'm gonna agree with this guy. And for a bit, I completely stood with it. I said, "Suffer not the furry to live." All that type of stuff. You know, after being in some time, I realized that not all furries are bad, and I was hoping that this dude could re-vindicate it like how his memes did before. But now I see this dude doesn't know what the hell he was talking about, man. Like before, even when I was trolling, you could admit I was making at least an effort to stand on what I believed in. I wasn't freaking going silent or saying please hold or any kind of BS like that, man. I was just left so baffled by that.
Hmm. Okay. Um. So how do I know that you're not just trying to earn my trust so you can come into my server? I'll mod you and then you can nuke my server.
You know what? You don't even have to invite me to your server, man. I just wanted to apologize for this because now I see after today, this dude didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I didn't hear this guy's voice before. I didn't know. I thought Halo guy would have had a voice like the Master Chief or something. I idolized him in sophomore year, but now I see this dude. Dude is a freaking. Dude's a bum. Dude's a bum. You don't.
Okay.
I don't. You can do whatever you want, man. I just wanted to apologize for that and to say that if Halo Guy 7 is still watching, you completely fumbled, bro. Completely fumbled like a furry finding a goth mommy furry with big mommy milkers or something, bro. You completely fumbled, man.
Okay.
Completely.
All right. I'll take you at your word today. I apologize, but I'm still gonna keep you banned from my server just because I'm kind of on
That's fine.
high
That's
alert
fine.
right now.
Go
So.
ahead. Go ahead, bro. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
I just
Well.
also I wanted to. Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I wanted to apologize to the furries that I was arguing with in your comments. I don't know them in real life. I'm sure they're probably cool, but you know, I was going through like an arc where I was like trying to hate on furries and stuff, but after seeing a complete fucking fumble, like God, bro. Like damn, that, like I listen, man. I know you don't know what it's like to be an anti-furry, but like I watched this dude, and this dude's making me stare at the Halo merchandise on my wall, like saying, "Damn, I can't believe this shit is related to him."
Okay. Well.
Like the dude said he's a freaking ODST and shit, and it's like, dude, they're known for dropping feet first into hell, and this guy is over here like can't even talk, can't even talk.
Yeah. I don't know. It does seem. I mean, I can see why that would definitely shock you a little bit, but
Yeah,
it's just
it did. It very much did. I
right.
expected like maybe some playful banter, some arguments, at least like something entertaining like a show or something. The dude just freaking he went on there with nothing, man. Nothing. Like how you write an entire document and you don't utilize any of it.
Well,
Like
yeah, I don't know. It seems like he wasn't even able to like pull up much of what he even signed off on or wrote.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I agree with you. It was just kind of a bad showing, and I honestly expected better from him. I thought we were going to have a little bit more of a difficult conversation, but like I said, being a furry is not inherently sexual, and he could just not defuse that argument.
And you know what? After today, I I can't fight you on that anymore. I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm 100% for furries. I still get a little bit irked with it. I'll say
That's fine.
I don't got a reason to think to that extreme anymore.
Furries can be extremely cringe, but I also believe that they have the right to be cringe. That's where I draw my line.
You know what? After today, I I gotta just tolerate that. I can't even fight against you with that, man. I can't even fight
Okay.
against you with that.
Okay.
I
Well,
I appreciate your time. If Halo Guy 7 is watching, dude, you completely fumbled, man. You completely made your entire freaking thing look like a complete failure, man. I went on your freaking server. I was trying to contact you and your mod saying, "Yo, dude, please say something better. Say something better." Left me freaking just completely disappointed, bro. Like
all right. Well.
shit, man.
Well,
But
I am
yeah,
glad that you can see that now. And like I said, you don't have to like love furries or anything. I'm not trying to get people to like fully embrace furries. I'm just like my thing is just be normal. Like you don't even have to think about furries hardly. I just like I don't understand the visceral hatred that people give them. So like I barely even thought about them before I made that video of me going over whoever she was, Brett Cooper, and then I had a bunch of furries join my community. I'm like, oh well, this is nice. So like I don't think about it that much, and I think that that should be the normal way to go about things. That's all.
and you know what, man? That's completely fair, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop my sword. I'm gonna drop my burning hate because I can't claim to it after seeing such a failure today. I'm not sure how you feel about our previous conversation, man. I got no clue. At least you could admit that at least I made more of an effort than this Halo guy, dude. Because
I
he did, like I was yapping a bit, but like he didn't even like make an attempt, man.
I do think you pushed back harder. Yes, I
Yeah,
think
like
that.
I expected like a Space Marine, Black Templar level of hatred for it, but it's like, uh,
it's weird because he couldn't even stand by it. Like I can respect somebody who at least stands by their principles. You know what I mean? In certain ways.
Yeah.
So
but,
you know,
yeah,
it's
man.
just odd.
You can make your decision on your server with me, man. I seen your other content. I mainly I agree with a lot of other things you say. You know, just before I wasn't agreeing with the furry thing, but you know, you can make your decision. Not gonna force you to do anything on that, man. I wanted to
Okay.
apologize and to say I can't hold on to my hate for the furries anymore. Have a good day, man.
Hey, you as well. Thank you. Well, if he's being genuine, then that's awesome. If not, then, you know, don't know what else to say. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.